Hi everyone, this video we talk about gradient attacks in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. What they are, how to use them, and other tips that you might find very useful. So basically, if you go to the Learn Skills section, you're going to find three abilities there on the right side. For each character, there are three of them. Alright, like Skybreak, for example, for Luna. And each character has their own three that are available for them and are different from each other. Think about those as a kind of ultimate abilities, very powerful abilities that needs to be charged in order to use them. Now, unlike regular skill, you won't be able to unlock them using skill points in the skill tree. They appear there, but you don't need skill points in order to unlock them. So first of all, how you unlock gradient attacks in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. You simply do that by progressing through the story, and eventually, while you are in the camp, interact with the characters there and improve your relationship with them. So as you level up your relationship with each character, you're gonna unlock also for each one gradient attacks. Again, there are three in total. So you do that by simply visiting the camp and interacting with the characters when it's available, because not all the time you can actually increase your relationship, but once it's available, just interact. If you have an option to talk with them, talk, and this will increase the relationship and level them up, and then you're able to unlock more gradient attacks. Now, to use your gradient attack, you initially see this is the first option. In this case, the right trigger or Q, if you use a keyboard and mouse. And this will show you, in this case, I unlock three, so I have three for my L. But depends, you're going to unlock one, you have one, until you unlock all the others. Now you can actually see the cost for each one, the gradient charges cost. For example, for Phoenix Flame, it's 2, for Gommage 3, and for Virtuous Strike, it's 1. So you don't need to be full 3 gradient charges in order to use them. Depends on the charge cost for each one, that's what you need in order to execute it. Right now, all of them are grayed out because I have 0 out of 3. You can see it at the bottom in the gradient charges. Now we talk about more how to charge them more precisely in a moment, but you can see here that I'm performing basically different action. You can see that, for example, I execute a skill. Take a look at the bottom bar for the gradient charges. You see? Just start filling up. You can see the bar is also shared. We'll talk about it in a moment more. You can see that I'm executing with Verso now, also charges the bar, the same bar. Now Monoko will execute, and then I'm going to have one charge. So I have one charge now. Now I want to execute the skill. I don't have to execute it with Monoko because it's a shared bar. I can just use my L and execute the gradient skill that costs one charge. And you can see it actually consumed. Now I have 0 and I need to continue charging. So before we talk how to charge them, first of all, a few facts about gradient charges. So the first thing is that spending 1 AP generates 5% of gradient charge. Again, these attacks are very powerful. Think about it like limit breaks from Final Fantasy. Now the gradient attacks you can actually see on the screen are actually tied to a shared gradient gauge that fills up as party members use skills. So it's not like per character, so everybody can actually contribute to these gradient charges, and you can just decide which character is going to use their own gradient attack with that charge. Gradient attacks cost either 1, 2, or 3 gradient charges to perform, as I mentioned before. Also, gradient attacks does not consume a normal turn, allowing you to act again in the same turn. However, there's an exception for that if you use the cheater Pictos, which makes you always attack twice, using a gradient attack will consume one of these attacks. Now, some Pictos can affect how quickly the gradient gauge fills. For example, the charging mark, plus 20% of gradient charge on hitting a marked target once per turn. There's amazing gradient break. I posted a video on my channel how to get it, plus 50% of a gradient charge on breaking a target. There's also related weapons like Mael's Battle Room, which has double gradient generation while in defensive stance, and plus 5% of a gradient charge on parry. Luna, for example, added Saparim. You see, using gradient attack generates 1 additional light stain, and also gradient attacks and gradient counters deal 50% more damage. Now, enemies can also use gradient attacks. the combat basically slows down and a swirling gray effect occurs. These are very powerful enemies attacks that can easily wipe you out or at least deal massive damage to you. However, you can counter them back using gradient counter. In this case, I'm using the RT right trigger at the right time to block. You can actually see it now, execute the gradient attack, and now we can actually, if I do it at the right time, I perform a gradient counter.
Get ready.
Now you also have for Mael thing that allows her to basically get an extra gradient charge when she actually do the gradient counter. So she gets a bit there. Now any build can be supported with this, but sometimes people create build just for for it because again it's just so powerful. Especially the Gommage, I was able to eliminate enemies like I think like 25% of their health left, and I just eliminated them. Just so powerful. So let me show you some useful Pictos to use. Breaking Death, fully charge any break bar on Death. And you can also go with Death Bomb and Auto Death because you can just get some synergies that will just give you the extra just by starting the fight and dying and reviving. Because by doing so, we also have things that apply buff to allies and ourselves, and basically this gives us the extra charge as well. Auto Death, I'm going to apply buffs on me because also there's synergy that gives me extra charges when I buff myself, which I'll show in a moment. Fully charged enemies, break bar on depth. Plus 20% of gradient charge on critical hit once per turn. 10% of gradient charge on applying buff. That's what I mentioned. When you apply buff, either to yourself or others, you get extra charge. Plus 5% of the gradient charge on eating a stunned enemy. If you break them, they're going to get stunned. This is also crit on stunned enemies, so you can also get it if you get the crit. Plus 50% of a gradient charge on breaking a target, gradient break. 50% increased break damage with gradient attacks. So if you exit to the gradient and you break, and there's kind of a circle around because then you can get charged by just breaking them, and then they get stunned, and then you going to deal stun damage and also crit, so it's get more charge. Play again on breaking targets. You can execute again. Play again, so you can do more things and basically charge without actually letting the enemy play. Play immediately when revived. Second chance. Alright, just a demonstration. I didn't add things for the other teammates, by the way, just so you know. So it won't be like that powerful. You can get much faster if I apply all of these to the other characters. First, take a look at the bottom, the charge when I die. It's 0 now, and I got the charge by just giving them buffs while I died. So we have like quarter charge, just one hit, the crit, and it's almost full. I was going to charge to full because I was just going to buff them up. I'm going to skip the other one, but they contribute a bit because again, they're not optimized for that. You see when I'm actually doing it for Mael, when I do the counter, I also get the charge. I also got one for the other one. Mael also has an amazing skill called Phantom Strike, also gives plus 35% of gradient charge. So this one is amazing. Take a look at the bar, it's going to be filled.
Let's spill some ink.
Now let's execute a 2 charge gradient attack. The Phoenix Flame. The other one is not optimized. It's going to be much faster. I'm going to take a look at another one. This is all full charge. Going to go full charge. 2. Now look, 1 aim shot. Almost full charge. And now for the Phantom. I'm going to charge full.
For annihilation.
Look how fast it is. And without actually optimizing the others. Just with Mael. Of course, it's charge. Everybody can actually enjoy this charge bar. It doesn't matter which character because it's a shared gradient gauge. Yeah, and basically that's it. Some of the advantages, that you can use it. It's very powerful, and basically, it's, in my opinion, it's a must for every build to support, at least to some degree, because there are so many options. Because it's shared, there's so many options to use to support your teammates in so many situations. Because the gradient attacks are varied. There are different things to do for each character, especially once you unlock them, especially in New Game Plus, it's going to be very useful. So in my opinion, it's just a must. And yeah, don't miss out on this one. Thanks for watching.
Prepare for annihilation.